We begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm going to go off script immediately. We have an election coming up, most notably for us in the town, and we have farmland in Sagaponic that still needs to be preserved. And I was going to suggest, well, I think the board should send a letter to all of the candidates asking for a position statement about use of community preservation funds for agricultural land preservation. And I hope, I assume the board will approve that.
Yep.
I mean, that's all our views, and
possibly could we add the term and historical designated?
well,
Something?
they're preserved by the AHRB. Barbara Albright's.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It'll never get torn down. It'll have to get hit by lightning.
Well, do we want to say historic acquisition?
They do that.
Do they do that?
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good one. That's a good
That's a
one.
good way to say it.
In addition to the land preservation
Yeah.
for agricultural.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm principally worried about the farmland. And later on, I think next month, hopefully we'll have more information about other parcels that maybe we should individually talk to the landowners and see if they have any inclination to sell off the rights. There are properties which still exist, and we have Schwenk's land. And I spoke to him Monday, and he's still waiting for the appraisal from the town. But he's willing to listen for that, which is nice. They've held off, taking out a loan to put in a road. So that's a good thing. But there's other land out there where no one's in front of us looking to sell rights, and it wouldn't hurt if we'll look at the properties in the future, but where the board talks to neighbors and says, would you be willing to do this? I mean, that's what I did with Schwenk as soon as I was elected, because I said, I got a bully pulpit now. I'm going to go down there and talk to that guy. I mean, I've been watching the subdivision thing for years, and maybe he doesn't want to do it. Maybe we could buy the rights off it and keep it in agriculture. There may be other property out there that we could do that. And the flip side of that is finding people. The town may not offer enough money. I mean, with the Gretchen Topping property, that deal, there was somebody in the family who could use a tax loss or whatever you call it, that had enough income with a tax benefit. They were able to take their portion maybe as the tax benefit. And that land was worth a lot more than what the town paid for it. Anyway, I think we need to find people who say, I want that property across from me preserved, and I'm willing to cough up a little money to see it done. The two sides of it, people willing to do it. I mean, nobody's going to be forced. If they want to develop it, and we'll sit and look at that. But it would be nice to get ahead of that.
We had a list a couple years ago, and
I've got that list.
that's
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm talking about.
Rich was willing to help us with it, so that's a great idea.
Yeah, no, Don had, he said his unfinished project, he wanted to continue on with, and I believe we're going to get some report on that in the near future. So I just wanted to throw that out there. When you talk to people, if you know anyone, and there's 4 properties, but I heard of something else which I wasn't aware of. Another reserve on the south side of Parsonage. Just it may not be developable, but I think anything that we can do to keep farming here is really a good thing. So everybody's on board. We'll get a letter out asking all the candidates, and we're not taking sides on this. We just want to know where people stand and let them know that we're interested in them not holding back to buy a marina somewhere else that we really want to see farmland preserved. All right, we're on board with that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now back to the agenda. Minutes, we have the September 13th, which I have not gotten all the way through, and I assume nobody else has, so maybe we'll hold off on that. We don't need to approve that today, do we, Dory? Has anybody else had a chance to read them?
I read it, but I'm not the best proofreader. I mean, a lot of people pick up stuff. He said I wouldn't.
I'm not worried about spelling, it's more the gist of it.
No, that just made sense, but
Yeah,
I know sometimes some people are really good at catching things. I'm not.
do we want to hold off until the next meeting? Is that okay, Rody?
That's fine, Bill.
Okay.
Sure.
We got a notice that the Peconic Land Trust is having a, oh, it's done by Zoom, okay.
No,
It was at
it's at the Bridgehampton
the
Club.
club.
Yeah.
Oh,
but,
my mistake then. Normally they do by Zoom,
Oh,
obviously I did
okay,
not read
because I was
details.
looking at the posting and I didn't see where it said Zoom.
Yeah.
You made
My
a
mistake.
mistake? I
I
don't
did.
think so.
Because
Okay.
these are normally by Zoom,
They
that's
are.
why
Ah,
I
okay,
made an assumption, so my apologies. So,
so
yeah.
people need to.
They want us there because they want the money.
Oh, drinks and light refreshments.
Yeah, man.
RSVP. If
They
you
did
wanna
this.
go.
I went, John
just
and I
signed up.
went to this at the Bridgehampton Club. Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
3 now.
3.
Are you
years
going
ago.
again, Lisa?
I'd be happy to, I guess.
It's Carrie, I think.
I
has
just signed up.
already.
Okay.
Oh, good.
So I
Okay.
I emailed this to all of you. So if you would like to go, you just responded to the email, right?
Yeah, I called the number. Olivia,
Okay, I haven't responded, but I'll. write
Olivia
myself a note.
Waterhouse.
Respond.
Okay, the next item, old business, resolution for eliminating parking restrictions on Fairfield Plum Lane.
I think it's worth the try.
Yeah, I don't see, I mean, it was something we adopted because the town had it. And I don't know if there was ever a problem back then, but the town had done a lot that we, anyway, I don't see it. I mean, we can always go back and repost it if we have to, but I don't see where there's a beach access close enough where people would really be using it to park for the beach.
It's a difficult road to even park on, and we should look into that one hedge section by Maysfield Close. That is really difficult.
Yeah, the engineer had pointed that out a while ago, definitely. So John Woods was gonna follow up on the hedge roading?
Yeah, he's gonna send a violation out on that,
Yeah,
like
oh,
we
good.
did over in Hedges Lane.
Uh-huh,
We'll start
okay.
that process. But as you recall, in Hedges Lane, we actually had to go rip out the hedging.
So
Right.
this is eliminating restrictions, meaning you can park.
Meaning right now, there are restrictions to parking. And so this would eliminate the
So we
seasonal
can, so
parking.
you can park.
So you can
Yeah.
park year round, yes, correct. And the resolution is in your
I'll
book,
move-
so
I'll move
you
it.
can move it and deem it right into the record.
Yes,
Second,
all in favor? Great.
can we back up to correspondence? I'll
Sure.
give you the shortest PO report
Oh,
you've ever
okay.
heard. And that is that nothing, things have slowed down a whole lot. And, but there were 8 arrests.
Really?
Most of them are on the highway. One was up by you on East Narrow.
Hmm.
And on Sag Road. Basically, everything is down except the false alarm burglary alarms. They're up. Fire alarms are down. Ambulance calls are down. And it's kind of quiet. Parking complaints are way down and half of the traffic stops. 118 for August and 69 for September.
Oh,
Wow.
And that's it.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, we received the audit report from our auditors. And they were pretty much happy. They did pick on Rody because I don't know if you're familiar with accounting, there's a accrual method and then there's a cash method. I think a lot of businesses, the smaller stuff, like I always use the cash accounting. And Rhodey, I guess, has pretty much run the village that way. And some new guy looked at it and said, well, this expenditure doesn't match the year that it falls on. So these few months that were in the prior year, I want you to account for in a different time period, and it screwed up her bookkeeping. It makes no difference, and it makes, but it's a nitpick thing. And so Rhodey has made adjustments. They're actually, what, they amount to a little over $1,000 or a couple thousand. And so out of necessity, we have to authorize transfers of funds from one year to another. Is that it?
No, it's not 1 year to another. This is still for the 22-23 fiscal year.
Right.
It's just when they did those adjustments, it put some of the accounts that you had already, at the end of the fiscal year meeting, I present you with the end of the fiscal year accounting. And if there are any of the accounts that are in the red, then I ask you to do those transfers. Then that brings everything into the black. And that's what I did. And everything was fine on May 31st. And then the accountants come in and there's about 4 or 5 different, 1, 2, 3, 4 different accounts that need to be adjusted because when they did the journal entries to account for that expense to cross between 2 fiscal years, it put these 4 accounts in the hole. So I need to bring them out to 0, and that's what they, that budget transfer request is for.
And so we need a resolution in some form to do this?
Yes, I need a motion and a second and an approval.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adjust our budget transfers to adhere to the determinations of our auditor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. A little more paperwork.
I think the couple changes on the fee schedule are fairly reasonable. And I don't see any horrible problems in those 3 or 4.
And the reason why I'm asking for this is because we have a minimum, we have a application fee that you approved a couple of years ago of $150. We also have a minimum fee for small things that are $100. So it makes an accounting nightmare if I have to refund $50 on an application. So
Gotcha.
that way,
Make it all the
it's kind
same.
of all the same. That's those 2 that would be.
I can motion that if everyone else agrees.
Sure, I'll second it. All in
Aye.
Aye.
favor? Okay, great. Okay. There was an anomaly or duplication or inconsistency in the zoning code, which as explained to me originally when we adopted some of the town zoning, it had one set of language in a section, and later on in a different section, we had a very slight conflict. And an attorney for an applicant actually pointed that out, found it for us. And so to make John's life easier, we need to eliminate a couple words from something. What is
Make our
that?
code consistent with itself.
And the way we've been applying, really,
The way
just,
we've been
it's,
applying it,
we've
that's
always applied it, it's about retaining walls. Retaining walls have always been subject to the side yard setbacks and the dimensional regulations. We always have. The mayor alluded, there was a provision that carried over that had a section of the code that allowed retaining walls in front yards or rear yards without any setbacks. That wasn't the intention, it was always subject to the setbacks. So that's what the proposal is. The motion today is just to set the public hearing for the November meeting, just to eliminate that retaining wall
Word.
general provision and subject it to the normal setback requirements for retaining walls.
I'll motion it then.
So that public hearing would be November 15th at 3 p.m. at Village Hall.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess the rest of it is financial. Hmm?
Could be record
Well,
breaking.
yeah. I mean, revenue looks okay, expenses look okay to me. It looks like we'll be able to stay on budget.
Building department is doing well.
Yeah, not fantastic, but it's well
Keep
within,
busy.
yeah, it's well within the budgeted revenue we're looking for. Anybody have any questions on all that?
Nope, I don't.
No.
We'll make a resolution to approve bills then, right, Lily? I'm go up to that.
Yep.
Pay from the general fund in the amount of $56,257.87. I'll make a motion to expend that. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to expend from the planning and trust and agency account $2,760. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And expend from the capital highway fund the amount of $3,525. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have no public. Our next meeting will be November 15th at 3 p.m.
I have some questions.
Oh, good, okay.
As far as the Zooming of meetings goes, what is it that we can't vote or we can't speak if it's not what kind of,
So the code reads, or the policy that the board adopted, which was taken out of state law, says that unless you have an extreme circumstance, and it lists the extreme circumstance, and that you notify the village clerk within 24 hours before the meeting, and she approves your extreme circumstance, as per that policy, then you can attend the meeting as a full-fledged member. You can participate, you can chat, you can comment, you can vote.
and what are some reasons?
Illness.
Caregiving,
Caregiving.
some exigent, unforeseen circumstance.
Okay.
What that exactly means, the state did not define, but they gave those as examples.
And that's exactly how our policy is.
So do we have to follow state law?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We do.
The state law, this was the Thiel amendment to try to loosen up the Zoom regulations post-COVID. And when we were all Zooming 100%, so that this was like a little accommodation they allowed in case people have extreme circumstances. But the one caveat I might just put onto that too is that unlike Zoom, where everybody could, unlike COVID, where everybody could Zoom all the time, a quorum must be physically present in Village Hall to even qualify as a meeting. So you have to have, in this board, you have to have at least 3 people in person to even have that other person participate.
Right.
Somebody's trying to get it.
Get in.
Just don't pull hard enough.
Okay.
Break the glass.
Did you have another question, Karen?
So then we wouldn't be able to change our ruling to be able to have people Zoom who like go away on vacation or
That's correct.
anything like that.
So
I mean, they could listen, but they can't participate.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. It's like, it's actually, it's beyond us as a village. It's actually the public officers law that controls it because it's part of the open meetings law. You have to
I
be
see.
person, at 10. Now, there is.
And why did they do that?
Because people got a little bit accommodated from COVID, they thought that was a good idea. I can say there is one other provision, just in case you look it up, that if you disclose the location where you are and invite the public to attend, you could do that.
It's also gonna be
Show up
advertised.
at your house or.
So-
Must be advertised.
Right. If you're on vacation and you wanna participate, you need to let me know, and it's gotta be 10 days in advance.
Right, I'm at Seabright Village, Unit 202, keys under the mat.
Hold on. So then it has to be advertised, you have to let me know, you gotta give me the address, I have to advertise it in the paper that this is a, what is it they call a public.
Public hearing, dual
Public-
locations where they can
right.
attend, yeah.
So the meeting will be held in 2 different public air, and even if it's your house, if that's the address you're giving me, you have to allow the public to come in. And as you're on the Zoom meeting, they have to be able to see you, like stand behind you while you participate in that meeting.
Correct.
That's been on the books for years.
And that was from the Village of Saltaire case, Saltaire being a village on Fire Island. They used to have the meetings in a law firm's conference room. They'd all be present, right, you know, New York City law firm's conference room. The board members would be present, but the public didn't know where the meeting was.
So my question, I'm wondering why they put this on the books that you can't talk and you can't vote when you're on a Zoom?
Because you can't participate as an
Right.
active member,
And why is that?
because we just explained it.
Because you don't qualify for the emergency exception. And you say, well, look, if I'm participating by Zoom, why can't I participate in the meeting? And they said, no, you can only participate by Zoom if you got an emergency circumstance, otherwise get to the meeting location in person.
And why is that?
That's what the state law says.
State law
They don't
says.
have a reason.
Otherwise, they want everybody in person. That's what the state wants everybody for the open meetings law to be physically present at the meeting site.
And to allow the public to be able to attend that meeting and hear every board member, your opinions, your discussions.
Yeah,
and
that's
everything.
fine.
So it's
Just
only an
figured
emergency.
if you could, in an emergency vote, why can't you in a non-emergency vote?
Because people would stretch that to be like, I don't want to come to Village Hall and face the public. I'll just sit in my living room because it's a sunny day and I've got a tea time. I'll just Zoom and
Yeah, okay, I
not show
got
up
it,
in person.
I got it.
Yeah, all of our authority comes from somewhere else. We're not like the origin of the authority.
Yeah, I
Hands
understand.
out from the state and they do what they want and we do what they say.
And I think they also passed that because I think people are interpreting it in good faith. You know, you're asking the questions because we're only coming from a position of good faith, right? Saying, hey, look, if I can Zoom, why can't I participate? Because you're doing it out of good faith. I think the state realizes that people will not do it in good faith and be like, well, you know, I couldn't get off my boat in time.
The assembly knows its own members.
Can you have can you have an absentee ballot?
No.
Not here.
Though sometimes at architecture or Zooming, the applicants can say, I don't want to be voted on unless there's a full board, because they
Right.
feel their chances with a full board could be different.
Mhm.
And particularly if it has, a demo in it or a historic tweak to it or something,
Yeah.
they wait for the full 5 and there might only be there that day 3 or 4 or whatever it is.
Right.
So I've heard that numerous times and so have you.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
zoning board.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we try to have enough alternates, so
So that
they
you
always
pull
have a
right
full
in.
board and nobody can delay.
Yeah.
I have a question on the parking on Fairfield. We notify the highway department to remove those signs.
Yes.
To save a second phone call, could you ask Mr. Supervisor if we could get some of those reflector poles by the new
Speed bumps?
speed bumps?
They run over.
People are going around it now, and there's
Yeah.
the one just down from mine, they're going up, right up on
You're
my
on the
neighbor's
grass.
beautiful sod lawn.
Oh,
Is that illegal?
Yeah, I think you're right. You can't leave you can't leave the highway.
Avoid the highway.
Right, yep.
Can't drive on somebody's
Oh.
private property from the.
So if he could just, he did them on the ones by Sag School, which actually one of them is busted down,
Yeah,
broken
one of
down.
them's been
We
right
can
now.
replace that. And then,
I shall ask.
I have another question. The porta john at the beach is there. And is it going to stay there, do we know, or do we don't know?
Are we talking about Sag Main Beach?
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know.
I mean, we asked them to leave it last year and they took it away, so
I wonder how long they leave it.
I think it was,
It's
they
still
pulled it
there.
in November, but I'm not sure, because people are down there all winter.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we can ask again to have them keep it there.
Sure,
And is there a
yes.
reason why it won't, I mean, does it blow over? Does it,
Freeze or?
yeah, it's-
No,
There it
it's
is.
fine.
they just have to pay for the monthly whatever.
It's not much.
I don't know, I'll ask them, I did have them, get the garbage can back down at Gibson. Because
Thank
they
God.
moved that one.
Oh, good.
So
We
they're
were
gonna
getting
leave it
piles,
there
yeah.
until
I saw it
come
back.
November.
All the garbage, oh, let's see now, is it the garbage pails? They're all in that fenced in area now,
In, on Sag Main
on
Beach.
Sag Main.
Yeah.
So can we ask them to put out a garbage pail as well and leave the,
We got the Gibson back so that people can actually put the stuff in it, Carrie's right, but at Sag Main, you can't put your stuff in it because it's locked up.
yeah, they put them all in the fencing.
Yeah, they throw it over the fence. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
So it might be a good idea to have at least one. I mean, then they have to come and empty it, but
Well, if they're coming to empty Gibson, they can run in quickly to Sag
are they
Main.
coming to empty Gibson?
Well,
They
It's
it's
put
not
the
there.
garbage can back.
there, it doesn't look like it's not being emptied, but I'm not necessarily watching it happen.
They do empty it, when it's there, they do empty it.
Oh, good. Well, let's
She
ask.
said November, but I can't remember if she said the end of November. I sent it to, CC'd it to you, Bill, I can't remember which told me.
Yeah, I don't remember the date.
I think the longer we can keep them, there are plenty of people that are still
Absolutely.
daily doing that. And I discovered the Sag Main one on my route when I had something to throw out, and then I kind of looked, and then I saw that I had to scale a fence to get there, so I took my garbage with me. It was just a small thing, but you know, it shouldn't have to be that way. Everybody should have one can at each of the beaches year round.
The problem is people, our illustrious rich people can't afford to go to the dump or buy the garbage bag, so
Well, they
they
do
go down there and
take
use it.
advantage of it.
But,
Yeah, some of them ride their bikes
Well, we can
down.
put up some cameras.
Actually,
There is a camera there.
our deer control guy offered, he has a couple.
Well, let's do that.
He offered-
Say, by the way, if you're putting in household refuse, you smile for the camera.
Yeah, please.
There's a guy that used to go down the road with the white garbage bag, and then as you were
On his bike.
on his bike, you see him too. And then you see him later and he has nothing, he's not carrying any white bags, so you know when one of those came. It takes
Any other questions?
No.
Are you here to speak on something?
I had just come in to ask a question, and they told me to come in and if I wanted to
Oh.
ask you guys, if you don't
You
mind.
want to step up to the podium
Oh,
and
sure.
just identify yourself?
Sure. My name is Sabrina Allen, I live on Wilkes Lane. And I was gone for maybe 2 weeks and I came back and found another speed bump on Hedges. While I applaud trying to slow the traffic down there, you know, we live there and I'm worried about ambulances. If one of us needs an ambulance, having to go over several speed bumps to get to at least, now there's stop sign, 1, 2, 3, at least 4 speed bumps between my house and getting to the hospital at this point. And I didn't know, A, if there are gonna be any more speed bumps that we're gonna find, or stop signs on Hedges, between Hedges and Sag. And did you take into consideration having ambulances that have to get to an emergency room quickly for people that live there? So I just wanted to know what your plans were. Did you take that in consideration? What do the ambulance companies say about that? I mean, no other towns don't seem to have these, and so I didn't know if that was considered when you decided to put in speed bumps. So you want me to sit down? Do you want
No,
me to- Sorry, okay.
Well, I guess the nearest town that has a bunch of them is Patchogue, Jennings Avenue, where it was a bypass. Our roads have become a bypass when
Yeah.
Montauk Highway stops and
yeah,
people
yeah.
do speed,
Yeah.
which is a hazard.
Sure.
And a lot of people have really used bicycles, walking, running.
Yeah.
And having a car go by. I don't know. I mean, the police have reported that the classic is a guy going 81 on Hedges
Sure,
was ticketed, and you can't have that.
sure.
But Jennings Avenue in Patchogue has much, I guess, they're much taller and much shorter, really very miserable. I guess there's 6 of them, and their fire department is actually on that road amongst the speed bumps. And they have provided service to a large community. I know I've been told by firemen that I'm much hated because of this, but
What do the ambulance people say? It's
Well,
hindering them?
in general, they don't like it, but they don't damage ambulances, and they can't go 80 miles an hour. They do have to slow down.
The ambulance is done.
Yeah, but
I guess I would just ask that you all consider that because if you're living there,
right,
and you need to call an ambulance, I have a lot of speed bumps to go between my house and Southampton at this point. And I'm, I'm no spring chicken. My husband's no spring
Right.
chicken. So,
well, it's kind of a balancing between
sure,
somebody getting run over and needing an
Sure.
ambulance and
Sure.
slowing people down, so maybe,
Well, is she able to get people together and sign something to say they would like 1 or 2 removed?
do anything you want to do. I mean, people petition to have them put in, and if you want to petition that.
I didn't know if
taken
people
out,
had petitioned to have them put in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, then I'll talk to my neighbors. I just happened to see another one, so I came in to say, like, do you have plans, what's going on? Because they were so close, the new one was so close. When they put up the highway sign, I came out, just because I saw people out there, I came out, I was like, hi, what's going on here? And he's like, we're putting up a stop sign. But don't tell me, I don't know why. So the highway guy said it's me.
Right.
So that's why I just thought I would stop in to say, so thank you. I'll talk to my neighbors, see how people feel about it. It just occurred, I mean, we've taken an ambulance, so that's why.
right.
The new one on Hedges,
By the post
was
office.
put by the new temporary post office. So
Yeah.
that people can slow down and let people get in and out of the post office.
Yeah, I
Slow
figured
down.
that's why. Yeah, I figured that's why. I figured that's
If
why.
that ever happens.
It will.
We're crossing our fingers the federal government's going to go forward more quickly.
Yeah, no, I know. I've talked to Karen a bunch of times, so. Thank you very much for
Okay,
listening
thanks
to
for
me. I
stopping
really
in.
appreciate
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Hi. Marilyn, I'll call mine in. Did you call yours in yet?